Hey, everybody.
No mute. No mute. We're
No,
live.
no
All right.
mute. Yeah, we got the video. Still figuring it out. I'm Megan,
I'm Matt.
and you're watching The
The
Night
Night
Owl.
Owls.
So I know I say that you're listening to, but I figured since this is a live video, you're watching us. You are listening to us as well. So for anyone who misses this video and is listening to us on our podcast listening platforms, hello.
Hello and thank you.
Thank you for continuing to listen to us and be a supporter of the podcast. We are in our third season, so it's kind of exciting to be able to keep making these videos and have the privilege of having social media and using it in this way, in a positive
advancing
way.
with video, advancing with the different platforms and areas to be able to continue to reach out with this podcast. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. So I wanted to actually talk about one thing that made you feel happy or grateful this week. Do you mind if I go first?
Go for it.
Okay, so I was, just doing normal essential shopping at CVS, and I don't normally shop there, but I had to get some things there, and I decided to go for a walk, which is why I ended up walking out there. I love taking long walks. I'm willing to walk about 3 miles if I have a destination that's worth the walk.
That's a long walk.
Yeah, so I walked to the CVS near us, and I was just getting some essential things, and there wasn't anybody at the front desk, and I had too many items for self-checkout. And I always feel weird about the self-checkout because of COVID. I don't really want to touch kiosks or anything. And there was only one. Usually the CVS, some of them have several, all around the store. And so there was no one there. And I kind of stood there for a while. And, I was just like, should I go grab someone? And before you know it, there were like 2 more people behind me lining up. And I'm like, fuck, like now there's people waiting behind me. Are they going to make a fuss? So I actually turned to these people and I was like, hey, I'm just going to go find someone. You can take my spot if you want. And there was this older woman. She had to have been like in her 70s, I would say. And she's like, no, you're fine. Like, I'll let you go ahead when you grab someone. And I thought that was really nice because some people really wouldn't think to do that. And when I finally grabbed someone, the lady that said that she would give me my spot was like, hey, there's someone over here. I guess when I was going to look for someone had walked up. And I swear to God, I was standing there for 10 minutes and no one came to the front counter, which I think for them is not good. I could have like walked out with my items, even if there was an alarm. There was no one there, no security.
No, they've got cameras.
I still could have done it.
But that's what I'm kind of surprised that, there wasn't some kind of alert or a camera there. And again, maybe
like Walgreens has security.
Yeah, I mean, being down with people, or maybe they just don't get quite the foot traffic or the traffic through there
so I just thought it was nice that she let me take her spot, and I was there first, but I really didn't care. I just thought it was a nice gesture. And also I was with my mom the other day, and I was petting this dog with her because my mom just moved to a new neighborhood, and so she was really sad about all her dog friends from her last neighborhood that she wouldn't see anymore. And we were on our walk. It was beautiful out. It was nice. And I said, you know what, maybe you'll see another dog here. Maybe your luck will turn around. And sure enough, about 20 minutes later, we walked past this grooming place, and there's a girl with her dog, probably in her 20s, beautiful dog. And he came over to us. He like locked eyes with us. He kind of looked like those, I forgot the breed, but he looked like those German Shepherds, but he was basically a canine dog that you'd see like police use. So he had a black muzzle and black on his feet. Some people would confuse him for a German Shepherd, but he was way more slender and like sleeker looking. But we started petting him, and we were sharing our stories about volunteering at Almost Home, which is an adoption agency. And the girl was really complimenting the fact that we were, she's like, my dog loves you. Like he's been, he was rescued and he was very skittish, but he seemed to take a liking to us. So I thought it was just nice to have those human interactions in the same week.
Yeah, the dog whispers. Yeah, that's always nice.
Right? What about you? Is there anything that you're grateful for that you kind of were happy about?
No, I mean the sun's out, weather's turning. Looks like we're getting into some spring here. So yeah, I mean that's what I'm.
So he's happy about the nice weather. Yeah, all that snow is gone. I did see people comment about the snow in our email. They sent an email. They sent pictures of their car disasters, like buried in snow. And some of them were not from Chicago. Some of them were from other states. And they sent us some emails of photos of like their response to when we were talking about your car being buried and snow removal and how it's affected, people's livelihoods in a way. I mean, just getting to work if you have to
Yeah,
actually
I mean,
drive.
that's the nice thing about here now, right? It's all
sunshine
for the
and
most
clear,
part,
and
it's
even if
especially
it's a
for
little
parking,
chilly, it's
it's
okay.
gone. It was a little chillier, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's good.
So I wanted to talk to you guys about, just some really interesting topics today. I actually titled this the Nature Edition because I actually have a really interesting story to talk about regarding COVID-19 vaccines. And you wouldn't think that it would be connected to anything with nature, but I thought this was really interesting. Some people think that, a lot of people are rushing to get their own vaccines, and I know we are being put in groups. I think I pre-registered for mine, so I'm definitely in a C group. I do Postmates, but I can choose to do Postmates. So technically, I'm a freelance. I only do one-on-one usually with my job, so I'm not an essential worker. The only time that I come close to that is when I'm doing my Postmates deliveries. But even then, I drop off food at their door. Sometimes I don't even see that person. And if I go into a restaurant, they're usually following COVID regulations. So I know, Matthew, you would be in group B, or probably before
B or
me.
C, I don't really.
Yeah. So everyone's trying to get their vaccine, and I think that the people that are getting theirs first are people that have underlying illnesses or any kind of issues with their health. And I know that they don't have pediatric vaccines yet. So if you have children, please, keep them safe. If they're old enough to wear a mask, definitely do that. Kids are harbor germs all the time, so definitely take extra precautions with them when you're with them. But this was actually an article about the Great Apes in San Diego Zoo. Now, I've never been to San Diego. I've been to Central California and I've been to Northern California, but I've never been to Southern California in my life. And I know that the San Diego Zoo is really popular with people. It's had many different babies that were born there. And this one's about some gorillas and orangutans that got the COVID-19 vaccine, which I thought was really interesting. And this is from CBS News. There's actually a video. So when I post this link, you guys can watch the video version. But this says that several orangutans and bonobos at the San Diego Zoo have received the experimental COVID-19 vaccine developed specifically for humans. Over the last weeks, and they're the most at risk, can be easily vaccinated. Received 2 doses each of the vaccine, which was developed by the veterinary pharmaceutical company Zoetis. About 3 weeks apart, a spokesperson for the zoo told CBS News. He said they marked the first known non-human primates to get the shot. This isn't the norm. In my career, I haven't had access to experimental vaccine this early in the process, and I haven't had such an overwhelming desire to want to use one. So this is the chief of conservation and wildlife health officer at the San Diego Zoo Wildlife Alliance, Nadine Lamberski. And she said in January, early gorillas at the zoo became the first great apes in the world to test positive for corona. So that was back in January. The gorilla troop of the San Diego Zoo Safari Park are doing well and appear to be on their way to full recovery. So it says that infections have also confirmed in dogs, cats, mink, tigers, lions.
We've known this.
We knew that they were in other animals,
they've
right?
been in other animals. They've affected domestic animals like cats and dogs, and large cats like tigers.
But I mean,
worldwide, the mink population, whatever, right? In Denmark, they pretty much had to wipe out because of a certain strain of COVID.
Well, they said that great apes are particularly concerned among the conservationists because they're endangered.
It's interesting. I don't know if it's speaking to the fact that it's an experimental COVID-19, or they're actually taking COVID-19 vaccines that would be used on humans and using them on them.
Well, it says all the species of gorillas are listed endangered or critically endangered on the IUCN Red List.
Understand, but
Well, I can keep
There are
reading.
probably a few people that would raise their hand and go, I think I would take that shot first.
I mean, I as someone who likes animals, I'd rather animals get it if they need it than humans. I mean, there's enough of us. They're in a zoo. Like they're already in a zoo because they're being killed in the wild, and we need them in zoos so that people can learn about who they are, what they are. We're not on the endangered list.
Yeah, I get it. It's not perfect. And,
yeah,
it says, again, I just would like the dissemination and how we've gone about this to be better. I know some states are better than others, and I think some states are just sound like they're actually downright almost nefarious. Our ex-governor, by the way, was in the news related to COVID shots, as it turns out that he may have paid the governor of Florida to ensure that a bunch of his friends down there got the shot.
Huh. See, that's what I'm saying. Where I trust humans. Like, I'd rather an ape get it because it says that their susceptibility to disease is one of the main threats. Infections can spread rapidly among the animals, which live in close familiar groups. COVID-19 has the potential to wipe out populations of gorillas, chimpanzees, orangutans, and bonobos if humans don't take steps to prevent its spread. So it says that Zoetis had started development on the COVID vaccine for dogs and cats after the first dog tested positive for the virus in Hong Kong over a year ago. And that was why they had to stop the meat market out there. This whole thing actually stopped that dog meat market in China.
The wet market.
Yeah, the wet markets. Yeah. So it says that it was deemed safe and effective 8 months later, but testing has only been done in dogs and cats. More now than ever before, we can all see the important connection between animal health and human health. While thankfully a COVID vaccine is not needed for cats and dogs at this time, we have applied our early development work to help the Great Apes at the San Diego Zoo. In other species on an experimental basis for emergency uses. So experimental, not the actual one that humans are getting.
No, they're using the one that they developed for dogs and cats.
And they said they're doing really well. So they're being closely monitored. It's not like we randomly grab a vaccine and give it to a novel species. A lot of thought and research goes into it, which the risk of doing it and what's the risk of not doing it. Our motto is above all to do no harm, because they're technically like doctors. They can't hurt these animals. They're not supposed to. It says that Lamberski said that because vaccines are made for a specific pathogen and not a specific species, it's common to give a vaccine meant for one species to another. Apes at the zoo get flu and measles vaccines developed for humans. I didn't know that. So they said that Zoetis told National Geographic that other U.S. zoos have requested doses of vaccine for their own great apes. The company expects more to be available in June. So they're definitely like creating a stir and creating a buzz with other zoos. I mean, there's other zoos that want to get in on this.
The animal population sounds like they're right along with us as far as getting these vaccines.
Why not? I mean, why not? And they're not taking it from humans. It's not.
That was interesting to see that other human diseases, because they typically it doesn't necessarily say, but they don't get flu shots per se, but the measles shots, that was interesting.
Yeah, and I think measles and flu are both contagious. So what if the handlers have it?
Just because it impacts a human doesn't always necessarily mean that other animals, especially even primates, are susceptible to that.
But it's good to take precautions.
Salmonella, E. coli, they'll hurt dogs and cats as well, just as they will us. So I mean, it's nothing new that there are microorganisms out there that are not good for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten some stuff in the mail, and I just wondered, other people in your neighborhood, we might be out on the lookout, or again, Chicago.gov coronavirus is one of our places that we're looking for. It does mention a couple other sites. It does talk about, and I know recently here in the news, we're going to have some amping up places like Walgreens, and you mentioned CVS and Oscos and Walmarts and places like that. I think we're going to be able to get a vaccine. To keep it along the lines of your animal, I had seen here recently, the oldest fowl here gives gives birth. And out there in nature, there's this albatross that is
Yeah.
near the Hawaiian Islands.
Hmm.
Yeah, this bird head was originally ID'd back in 1956, and they called it Wisdom. So Wisdom is
Oh,
70 years old, and she just gave birth to her 40th youngster.
oh my gosh. How old do they live to be,
I
albatross?
do not
Roughly, what do you think?
necessarily know, but I mean, in 1956, when they first tagged her, they believed her to be about 5 years old because that is when albatrosses mature enough to be able to give birth. So
What
she
year
was
was that?
1956.
Holy shit. She's like a dinosaur.
40th youngster out
Hmm.
there. And then I had seen something else related to oldest, but this was more human related. I see in the upcoming,
She's 65 years old.
well, that's pretty old for a bird.
Or
So how
60
about
years
this?
old,
So
I
the
guess,
oldest
roughly.
human is
Yeah.
going to be walking in the Olympic parade, or at least going to walk the Olympic torch here in Japan in May.
I did see an article. I did not read it, but I did see an article about
Kane
that.
Tanaka of Japan, 118 years old, born in 1903. Can you imagine that?
Holy smackers. I can't even get out of bed most days, and I'm 34.
There wasn't TV. 1903 was the year of the first powered flight.
There wasn't even any wars going on. I don't know about
She
Japan.
survived cancer twice, 2 world wars, the 1918 Spanish flu. Now one would probably say the 2020
American,
coronavirus.
yeah.
No, but she is in Japan. She will not be the first person of 100 plus years old, but at 118, she will have been and will be the oldest. In 2016, you had somebody that was 106 who walked in Brazil for the Rio Summer Olympics.
Was she in the Olympics before this?
No.
So this is the first time.
They're just honoring.
Oh, okay, I didn't know she was an Olympian too.
So this
that
is
would be
kind
amazing.
of it's not unusual for a country that is hosting the Olympics for them to honor somebody that is the oldest there. So again, in 2014 in the Sochi Winter Olympics, somebody who was 101 years old walked the Olympic torch and in that honor, but 118 years old.
And like, okay, so walk me through that, because like
she's almost older than the modern day Olympics. The modern day Olympics started in 1896.
I bet she meant like Julius Caesar, for God's sake.
No, I mean 1903.
Yeah. But like, okay, so walk me through the idea, like when they have someone walking the torch, is it someone they honor that has to be the oldest person, or is it just someone that they
No, it's somebody
that
like
they all decide together that
so
they
like
want
here
someone to represent the country?
If you remember the most recent when it was here, they had Muhammad Ali. Remember, he did a little bit of it, even though at that point in time he was quite physically challenged, but he still was able to kind of.
So they just all choose on a vote.
They pick.
Or it could be anyone.
It can be a popularity, yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be an Olympian.
But it's usually not necessarily a celebrity. Just to give you, I was recently listening to another podcast, and they talked about the 1984 Olympics, and at that time, the president of the Hell's Angel chapter in California was part of the torch carrying contest. Well, he talked about it. So they entered their name. It was a fee. They entered their name pretty much under an acronym. They never went out and vetted what the full acronym was. It was something like Hell's Angels, da 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 da. But they did it under the acronym. They got approved, and then eventually the story hit public news.
I bet it did. Like, that's so random.
The Hell's Angels.
Yeah, you wouldn't even think of them in the same category, like at all. And there's I don't know, and I know enough about the Hell's Angels.
I thought it was interesting there. Yeah, she for being 118, by the way, she credits drinking fizzy drinks and math games every day.
I play math games on my phone every day. I've been doing that. Do I like those games the simulating games where they're puzzles and stuff? I don't know. Maybe she's also single for most of her years too. She didn't have no man bother in her.
Oldest civilian. Yeah, that's the least that we know of at 118.
Comment below or send us any email about the oldest person that you know. It could be a family member. It could be someone you read about. But I would love to hear your stories about that, because I think that's really interesting. And they always have their own secret, right? Their own like thing which I don't think always applies to everyone. Like you could play math games, but like not live to be 118. Or some people say, oh, I drink whiskey every day. Like, there's always that when they find the oldest people, they sit down with them, a reporter sits down and they're like, what's your secret? And it's like, they don't have a secret. They're just living their life. That's not their goal to live that long. They probably wanted to die years ago.
You don't know.
There's
no
way
for that.
And they also, maybe that was her goal. Maybe there's other things that she did. And also lineage. Maybe she had family members that lived to be 90 or lived to be, older. Sometimes it changes throughout your
genetics.
Yeah, genetics. I mean, if I get to 70, that would be great. That's enough for me. I think I've seen a lot of change happen where I can feel happy about leaving the earth. I mean, with not feeling like, oh, I never got to do anything. That's like the one thing for me is like, you don't want to die with regrets. You don't want to die with things that you never got to try, even if you failed at them. Like don't regret what you did, regret what you did.
Yeah, it's not the failures.
Yeah, always cherish the failures because that's how you learn. So the next thing I want to talk about is, how we always get emails from you guys, and thank you guys so much, because I know that the last episode we did read some stories, some questions that you guys sent us,
and thank you.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. I did not mind going through them and like looking at them and reading them. Some of them make me laugh, some of them make me cry, some of them make me ponder and wonder. And during days where I'm not feeling myself or I need a little change in the weather, it's nice to know that you guys are connecting with us. So I actually recently on our Facebook platform, the Night Owl Chicago, it was the Night Owls, but I did change the name to the Night Owl Chicago. I made it easier now. The name's the same on every platform.
Chicago.
Yeah, I wanted to make this our own and make it more customized. So I did post a question on our Facebook page to ask you guys about certain things, and this one was about your pets. Since we were making this our nature edition, I wanted it to keep in sync with an animal themed podcast episode. So I had said, animal lovers of the Night Owl Chicago crew, that's you guys.
All right.
What is the one thing you wish people would know or understand about your pet or a pet? Any kind of tips you have about being a pet owner? I mean, the ones I did find were about dogs and cats. If you guys want to email me about any other kind of pet, do it. Every pet is your own. It doesn't stop at cats and dogs. It can be a lizard. It can be a sugar glider.
Goldfish,
it could be anything.
It could be a rock.
It could be a rock. I saw some about rocks too.
Again, an ant farm.
Yeah. Oh, I never had an ant farm. I actually always wanted one, but I was scared that they would break out. These are the ones that I picked, hand selected, that you guys sent me in the comments. This one's really good. It's actually pandemic related. So it says, I think the pandemic is a good way to help people understand this better. Everyone's complaining about not being able to go anywhere and not being able to see friends and family. That's how your dog feels when you don't walk them or spend time with them. I hope that was interesting.
All right.
About their pet, the best one I know is the one I heard a while ago. You have your life, your job, your friends, your family to provide your social interaction per day. Your dog or pet only has you. Interact with them for more than 5 minutes per day, and maybe they will not go out barking every 5 seconds. And then this one says, don't complain about your dog or cat not having boundaries when you're literally feeding them scraps off your plate at dinner time. That's 100% on you. And I agree, because we have a food aggressive cat who every time we open the fridge, she is like right there next to us, and I'm just like, she knows that her food's in there because we've been giving her wet food, and I refrigerate it after I open it. And now when I give her the treats, I make sure she works for it, and I really number the amount of treats she gets, and they have to be something that are like, it has to be a positive thing that she's done. And when she is begging verbally and she's all up in her butt, I am stern with her and I say, no. If we've been giving her the right amount of care now, I know in a few episodes ago I said we ran out of wet food. Now we got her wet food back. She seems to like it, but it's actually really good food for her. I've upped
Wolfed it
her.
down.
Yeah, I've upped her vitamins, and I've upped her, probiotics. So she seems to be more happy about it. But man, she's still freaking begs sometimes. The silent begging is fine when she just sits in a corner and she stares at you. That's okay. He used to be really bad at it. He used to like give in to her, and I'm like, nope, don't do it.
Yeah, it's hard. That
Don't do
face
it,
is hard.
Matthew. Don't do
It's
it.
hard.
Yeah. So what advice do you think people should know about pets? Like, what do you think people should know about having a pet? What would you want to tell the listeners? Because they gave us some advice
No, I mean it's just a
just from your
response,
experience.
responsibility. I mean they are, another living creature. I consider it a blessing to be that they are in our presence. I know not everybody always has those same feelings about maybe their pet, but
What does it do for your life to have a pet?
to me it's another being in our presence
Mhm.
that has, whether a lot of times we do tend to project that personality onto them, but again they are another living creature. That I mean she
They
does
have needs
voice,
and
and
wants.
they have needs and wants, and they really, I mean, to me they have feelings. And
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely another entity who wants to be heard, and they may not speak the same language as us, but my advice would be to pay attention to their body language. What if they break their normal behavior, normal kind of uh, routine. Like, definitely watch for that, because that could be a sign that they're depressed or that they're sick, or if they're, especially with cats, because cats are really strong. Like, they won't let you know that something's bothering them. But like, for our cats, it was a little too late when we had to say goodbye to them, and they were showing those signs that you would look for cats. They were in a different room that was really weird, that they never go in, or they were like just not wanting to interact with us, and they're normally very interactive. So I mean, I would just say pay attention to their mannerisms, and if they change the way that they usually are, like, address that. Take them to a vet, have them checked out. There are cat therapists, dog therapists. It sounds silly, but there are people out there that do massages, that do like emotional therapy, toy therapy. I mean, spend the money if you have to, but really, definitely, I think one of the people that said, we don't get to see people because of the pandemic. That is how your pets feel when we're going out on trips. Like, that's why for us, we always want someone we care about to watch our
yeah,
cat
I
that
mean it's
she
not that
likes.
they're always going to understand that you're going to be right back when
No,
you
they
are
don't know
coming
that.
back. And
Yeah, and also have someone that they like watch them. It could be someone that you may not like, a family member or a friend, but if they really, really love them and they really are feel safe with them, and you can see the interaction, those are the people that should watch your pets. Make sure that they're like, literally, that your cat or your dog is very comfortable with them. Or we don't make anyone watch our cat. We have people that we know we can trust. Uh, that if the house burned down, they would carry them out. I'm like, don't grab anything else in the apartment. Just grab the cat. It's fine. And maybe some art.
for this week, kind of things that I was doing, and one thing that kind of caught my eye the other day was seeing that there's going to be a new biopic here, biopic kind of coming up, I think, on the Clintons.
Uh-oh. On
Yeah.
both of them?
Well, yeah, and I see where Edie Falco, and I've been kind of watching The Sopranos, right? So she
Mm-hmm.
played Carmela Soprano. She's
Mm-hmm.
going to play Hillary Clinton.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Huh. She definitely could
No,
do
I
it.
mean, and then this was my week of finally finishing that up. I was somebody that was, I would say, a little late to the party. I'd
To watch The Sopranos?
never seen The Sopranos, and finally that was my time watching it all the way through.
Yeah, he watched it. He was really intensely watching. He was like shouting at the TV, and
It is
you were
what
really into it.
it is what it is there, and I just thought it was kind of interesting also in these COVID times, that speaking of, kind of that syndicate, that crime, that organized crime here in the city. The one bar that's associated with some of that in West Town got busted a couple of times here for being open during COVID times.
Uh-oh.
And that, kind of the rumor mill was there'd always be 10 to 12 people in the bar. But they also made no bones about it. They put open that they were going to stay open and that they would remain the fines. But there's speculation as to kind of why they
Are they filming there?
No, it's
So why are they staying open? Because of the mob?
yeah.
I was just going to ask you if Tony was a real person. Do you think he would still hang out there if it was really? I mean, if The Sopranos happened now, don't you think they would still be filming, even if they were? That would be a way to actually be open if they were.
Well, I
actually
mean, that
filming.
also brings up that I'm excited for far as what's going to come out in September, the Many Saints of Newark, which is going to kind of be the prequel to The Sopranos. It's going to star, matter of fact, James Gandolfini's son in it. It stars a Ray Liotta. His character is going to be, if you remember who the Chris Moltisanti character is in Sopranos, he's actually going to play his dad. Yeah, they're going to have a couple of characters in there that I think name-wise you're going to recognize that are going to be in there. I mean, Polly Walnuts is going to be in there, so nice. I'm excited for that now, having finished that up, seen some of that, and
so do you really think that they're open for mob business? I mean, there's no public going in there, or do you think that's why they're willing to pay
there is
fines?
public that goes in there.
Okay, so
yeah,
but they have enough money to pay for all the fines that they have if they stayed open.
I don't know.
So where are they getting that money during a pandemic? I mean, it's not a small business loan. Where are they getting it? I
mean, they're a very small divey bar. I mean, I don't know.
But
I don't know if they did get fined or were in trouble at all.
Because there have been places that have shut down that were bigger venues than that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's all they
Chicago.
are. They, as far as a little bit of bar food, but there's, small. I mean, it's Richards.
Yeah.
Where earlier they made the news earlier this year because that's where, again, a family lost a family member there.
So this last piece of news to end today, the last episode we talked about some drama with the director in Homewood Flossmoor. She was supposed to be in a Zoom meeting with people, and they were going over the green space project, No Trucks, and No Trucks is about trying to help the South suburbs to remove this country club and replace it with, something greener. And what they want to do with Homewood Flossmoor and the, what the village wants to do is they want to put a trucking station there with like so many trucks a day, just blowing fucking fumes all over the place and just, making the air way worse to live in. And this group wants to change that. They don't want that to happen. They want to rezone it. They actually had their last meeting officially a few days ago. So what I'm doing is I'm gathering video footage of all of these rallies that they've had and meetings that they've had, and editing it to make a video that will be, small documentary for this cause. So I remember sharing some audio of this woman's hot mic incident of her calling the protesters assholes and saying that if the desk wasn't in the way, she would jump them, and talking about bringing guns to these rallies.
And you have more to that now, huh?
Well, people wanted her. Well, also, she's also had a hand in, threatening some of these people that were doing peaceful protests. I mean, she's had a hand in all this shit. She really hasn't been that great of a person. So it says that Homewood director resigns after hot mic swearing. So this actually was...
Oh, so she does now, finally. Oh, she did leave office. Okay.
Yeah, so this was posted a few days ago, and the meeting was 2 days after that. So they had the meeting without her. It says that the economic and community development director, that's what she's the director for, the village of Homewood, Angela Massaros, resigned from the position Tuesday, according to the news release. So that's why she did it. That's why she left, because of the hot mic of the derogatory language that she had. And it says that Massaro submitted her resignation to the village manager, Jim Marino, who accepted it effective immediately. Marino issued the following statement, but listen to me read the statement, because let's hear what you think, because it's pretty interesting. It says, okay, this is what Marino said. He's the village manager. He said, Mrs. Massaro's decision to resign followed a full investigation into comments she made during a sound check before the start of the Planning and Zoning Commission public hearing on February 25th, 2021. Village policy prohibits the use of threatening language, regardless of the in-text or context. Ms. Massaro stated that her comments were not made with malice or intent. However, she recognizes that they were inappropriate and not what is expected from village employees. Comments attributed to Assistant Village Manager Napoleon Haney have been misstated in the press and on social media, but dealt with accordingly. Ms. Massaros expressed sincere regret and remorse for her comments, as have the other employees. It says that in Ms. Massaros, we will lose a valued employee and champion for our business community. She was instrumental in retaining and attracting businesses to our community. Many of the businesses and restaurants residents enjoy and patronize are the result of Angela's commitment to her profession and efforts to better our community. Several members of the business community have contacted my offices, as well as those of village officials, to voice their appreciation and support for her. Ms. Massaros is well liked by the village staff, officials, and colleagues. It's been a privilege to work with her, and she will be missed. We are confident that her skills and talent, she will be promptly recruited by another organization. So before I finish this, I just want to say, she ain't gonna get another job. Anyone can try and work that hard to get to that level, but how you act.
Very colorful remarks that it sounds like very explicitly within the contract of employment that absolutely that's automatic termination for using any of that language, even if you meant it in jest. So
yeah,
my guess is that if she was that good at her job, she will land a similar job. There will be other townships and other communities that will want somebody. If they're trying to get back. So
he also goes on to say that other people were behaving that way too. That she's not the only one. But no one said anything about that.
It may speak to a bigger problem.
Maybe she isn't the only one.
She's not the only one. And
so
if
just
you
start
are
taking them down then.
That there are other people. To me, that speaks to the culture.
Where's the hit list?
In those public offices there.
Yeah, they said that some other people have acted with contempt for legally required rezoning process, disdain and disrespect towards village officials, refusal to follow public meeting protocol and decorum without apology or consequence. While this behavior represents a small group of individuals, within the whole, it remains inappropriate and warranted and serves as a poor reflection of our community. So it's not just her. It was other people. And like you said, maybe it's the whole goddamn system. That she implied, she's implying that village attorney Christopher Cummings would have turned a gun on the crowd of attendees last week if he had one. She issued an apology saying that she takes full responsibility and is deeply ashamed. But you have to think about things that you say before you say
we don't know that. In print, it reads like that, but she may just really, in the end, which is sometimes the case, right? They're just upset they got caught, not that upset what they had said. But we'll see if she's remorseful and can repent and kind of can change her.
Here's what she said. It says that this is what she said. She said, I have said words that were thoughtless and unkind towards members of the community. My actions showed disrespect for our residents whose voices need to be heard. My job is to help this community. I understand that I have let down our residents as well as our leaders. Any reference to violence or the use of a gun is never appropriate, and it does not reflect my love for this community I call home. She went on to say, as a Homewood resident, I want what is best for our community. I let my frustration with the lengthy and challenging hearing process get to the best of me. I want you to know, despite my comments, I have the best interest of Homewood and its residents at heart. Moving forward, I want to continue to listen and engage in meaningful dialogue with the community. She's an adult. Just because a meeting goes too long doesn't mean you have to start talking like that. I've been in lengthy meetings. I don't start talking like that. It just sounds very generic. Her apology. It's good that she apologized, but it just sounds like she had to do it. She had to do it. People are waiting to hear what she had to say. And she had time to write that down. But, when you're in a lengthy meeting, you just say, hey, guys, I need to take a 5-minute break. Let me just let me just collect my
Yeah,
thoughts
I
and
mean,
come
she
back.
was upset. I mean, clearly she probably wants this deal to go through. She's worked
Yeah.
hard to get it.
Yeah, she doesn't
And
care
now
about
there's
the
a lot of
environment or
there's a lot of pushback for it.
Yeah,
And
she has people above her that are probably like squeezing her balls and saying, "Hey, you need to get this done. This is going to make the village a lot of money."
yeah, I mean,
And like you
that's
said,
just
it's
it.
about
I'm
the
not
money.
sure it's the best for the citizens of
No.
those areas.
So I don't feel bad for her. She may have done other really great projects that really did help the community and maybe gave people jobs and stuff, but I don't think that she's putting into account that people who are activists that want to help the community, the people, not the businesses and the village, the people that actually make the most money from it. But, in my opinion, I just thought it was interesting that she did make an apology and that, going forward, we're just going to have to wait for more information because they've had several meetings since February about this project. And it takes time. It takes time for communities to go over these meetings and make everything legit and hear everybody out. So I do understand the frustration that she was having, and maybe her job was on the line, but now she doesn't have a job. So I hope
now she has time to reflect.
she has time to reflect. She can play with her dog or her cat or whatever she has at home, and think about maybe rebranding herself, maybe quitting.
I mean,
that
it sounded
industry.
like, sorry, I mean, at least she took more ownership than old Ted Cancun Cruz. I mean,
yeah, he isn't putting it. Has he put any apology out?
Remember, he threw his kids under the bus as his reason for.
So that was it. He hasn't said anything further.
No,
so he hasn't. He's been.
Yeah.
So he's just back home like nothing's happened.
No, I mean, sounds like she took a playbook that's out of some PR, and that is.
She is a lawyer. I'm sure she is a lawyer.
Yeah, own up to it, own it, apologize, quickly move on.
Sometimes it's about the apology, and sometimes the apology doesn't reflect what you did. But at least she did something, But so I just want to let you guys know we'll be putting this video on YouTube. So we are on YouTube, we're on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. I will put our website
wherever you get podcasts.
Wherever you get podcasts, I'm pretty sure I've been Googling our name and we are popping up on smaller podcast channels. So I will put our Anchor link in the comments, and then you guys can go and check it out. But thank you guys for tuning in with us, and we are really happy that we could do this with you guys. And be sure to keep sending those emails in, keep sending your comments, interact with us. We love it. We live for it.
Love you.
Yeah, we love you. I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you are watching
The Night Owl.